intentions today. So this is what's going to be the outcome for you. So one of them is to help you get clarity on your vision, what it is that you want to create. And I've got a couple of bombshells around this that I'm hoping will make you feel so much better about your vision and how you approach your vision, because it is different for everyone. But so you get like more confidence in it, more, so it feels tangible, like you can feel into it. So we're going to get that clarity. The second thing is you're actually going to create a roadmap to your vision. This is not me telling you how to do it. I'll include this when I talk a little bit about me in the introduction, but I think that everyone has, like, your greatest roadmap is your own inner wisdom, is your own intuition, like, you know. And when we give up our power, it's because we ask other people, what should I do? What should I be doing? What should I be doing? And it's suddenly like we literally kind of, all of our power drains away from us. And I'm not meaning to say that consultancy isn't helpful. Consultancy is helpful. Okay, we all have consultants in our life. I do business consultancy as well, but nobody can tell you what your greatest vision is. Nobody can tell you what your calling is. You know that. That comes from like the deepest part of you. And this is my belief, that when we step into what we're here for, what we're called for, this is when we step into our greatest power. And actually, life becomes easier for us because we're stepping into the flow rather than going against the flow or trying to swim upriver all the time, which is just absolutely bloody exhausting. So you're going to create your aligned roadmap. This is your roadmap to you, and it's going to be quite deep, and it's going to be one that's reliable. Okay, it's not going to be like something that's going to shift and change all the time. It's going to be reliable so that you can use it whenever. And then the third thing that we're going to do is understand why it's so fucking hard to step into our vision. And like what gets in the way, and how we can start alchemizing our beliefs and our energy to really step into it, because it is totally possible and it's loads of actual fun. So that's what we're going to do today. So I am going to refer, I need to take a look at my notes every now and again. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, not because this is about me, because it's not. And I really want you to see this as your workshop. This is not like my workshop, Lise Tidswell's workshop. Forget that. This is your workshop. You've shown up here because this is important to you. It's important to your life. It's not about me, but I want to share a little bit of my story so that you know that it's possible, and that you're human, and that I'm human, and we all can do this. So my path, completely not straight, often very ugly. About 5 years ago, or let's just put it this way, I have a past of abusive relationships. I actually had a breakdown in my 20s and then got married to the guy who was like psychologically and emotionally and everything abusing me, because I was so shut down. I'd so numbed myself off and cut myself off from life that I just was going along with life to survive, basically. I was running a business that brought in money, but I felt like I was in golden handcuffs. I wasn't really enjoying it. It definitely wasn't my calling in life. And I got to a point where I felt really stuck in it. Boom bust cycles with money. Don't know if anyone else can relate to this. And felt like I'd completely lost my voice. I didn't really know who I was, and had a kind of constant low level anxiety. So that was me. Fun to be around, Lisa. That was me about 5 years ago. And then one day I was in the shower. I just had a baby girl, and she was a few weeks old. I put her in the baby bouncer whilst I had a shower. So she was right outside the shower door. Stepped into the shower, and I was having a shower, and I was literally, this happened to me nearly every day. I was being so horribly triggered by what had happened to me in the past. And I was literally drenched in shame. And I'm going to say self-disgust. It sounds It sounds harsh, but that's what it felt like. It was disgust and so full of shame. And I remember when and I was almost like in a hypnotic trance, right? This would happen to me daily. And I remember when I stepped out of the shower, I saw my daughter in the baby bouncer on the bathroom floor. And I looked at her and I just, with horror, realized that I didn't want her to go through that. And how did I stop her going through that? And in that same moment, literally, there was a voice in my head that said, Elisa, you have to change. And I've got to say, actually, it was like one of the greatest moments of my life because it gave me life. It actually gave me my life back and began to remind me of who I was and my power to create my life. And I decided then that I needed to become no, not that I needed to, I wanted to become a living example of everything that I wanted for her and my son. Like to have wonderful relationships, to do what they absolutely loved, to be financially abundant, to feel free and happy, to like follow their calling, follow their passions in life. And I was so far away from that at the time. But then 5 years on, my life has completely changed in so many ways. And it's not that I feel like a completely different person, if I'm being honest. I feel like I'm more of who I actually am, who I always was. So 5 years later, I do loads of cool shit now. So I completely changed industry. I used to run a marketing agency. I ran that for over a decade. And I literally just closed it down at the beginning of this year, which was like a massive snip of my old identity being cut off. Um, I'd gone into personal development industry. So what happened was after this incident with my daughter, I went and hired a coach because I knew that I needed some help to move forward. And at the time, my husband, who's like nice husband, not the other one, he used to like talk to this medical intuitive, and I was really jealous of him for like having this person that he got to speak to and talk, just talk to about stuff. So I hired a coach. And that was life changing for me, actually, just to be able to get out a lot of the stuff that I had trapped inside for so long, for so many years. Like I hadn't even spoken to my husband about it. I had that much shame around it. So, so I hired a coach, and on our third session, she said to me, like, I'm not really sure what I can do with you now, but have you thought about becoming a coach? I think you'd be really good at it. So that's how I then just started looking into coaching and fell in love with it and started doing all the things and changing myself and developing myself and learning. So I've coached over 2,000 people now in just the past few years. I joined the faculty at Mind Valley and I run their accelerator program. I've hosted their certified business coach program. I hosted the live event, which was their super coach immersion, which honestly is mind blowing considering a few years ago, my self-worth was in the toilet and I didn't even feel like I had a voice. So a lot of things can change. And I knew for me that the thing that changed, the thing that I needed, it wasn't strategy. Like I was intelligent and capable, I knew that much, but I also felt stuck. And it was like almost like there was an invisible wall, invisible ceiling that I just didn't know what to do with. I couldn't push past it. So I knew it wasn't strategy. I knew it was me. I knew I had to do something about myself internally, which is why I went and hired a coach. And that's why this is the work that I love doing the most. I do consulting, but to me that's like the cherry on the top. It's like useless if you don't have a pudding, and I like pudding. You can tell me if you like pudding too. Put that in the chat if you're a pudding fan. So the work that I've done the most and the work that has shifted the most for me, and I'm sorry, the work that shifted me the most, I started off with the mindset work. Like how can I change my beliefs? How can I rewire my brain? And that was great, absolutely brilliant. And then I went more into the somatic work. So how can I shift the energy around my body? How can I understand my nervous system and how that's sabotaging me? But it really wasn't until I went deep into the spiritual work as well that really, like, that's when like completely quantum leaped what I felt was possible for me, because I went into a much deeper place of kind of making things happen to stepping into the flow and trusting that things would happen. It's like accessing this really deep place of certainty that, like, I couldn't get there alone with the mindset work or the somatic work, but with all of those things combined, it's like rocket fuel. So that's what I want to share with you today. um, and I'm going to share with you also very quickly my vision, okay? Because if I showed you my vision board from 8 months ago, I've already checked it all off, so I've got a new vision board now. um, and the reason why I want to share it with you is because, first of all, casting your vision is like one of the most important things that you can do when it comes to quantum leaping your vision, right? Casting your vision is like broadcasting your vision. It's letting people know what you're creating. When we do that, we're not only kind of putting that energy out there, we're literally saying to the universe, to the to energy, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm creating, and things start happening, synchronicities start happening. So some of the things that I'm doing now, I'm building a community. I'm moving from just one-to-one and consultancy work to building a community. I want to be able to work with thousands of people, so that's what's going to happen. Bringing prosperity to humanity, something that's super important for me. I know how much lack of financial abundance really messes people up, and it bothers me that that gets in the way for people. Building a spiritual center, I don't even know what that means yet, but it just came to me when I was doing some deep visioning work. So building a spiritual center. And I always think that the future is going to kind of look at and feel a little bit like Star Trek. Like, you know, like all people are united and everyone's equal and they all work together. And like, so that's like the future that I'm going for. And I think that, not that I want to like work on a spaceship or anything, just putting that out there. But just this picture of humanity. And this is why you and your vision and your work is so important. Because when we don't have a vision for something better for ourselves, for our families, for our community, for the world, what happens is we just end up creating our life from our past programming, from limitation, from anxiety, from fear. And I don't think anyone really wants that, but a lot of people don't know how to get out of it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Like, how do you break out of that? How do you hold space for your vision? And like, let's face it, having a vision is scary AF. I don't know why I'm like not swearing now when I swore earlier, but anyway, it's super scary because everything we have, our biology, our nervous system, our mindset, is all wired to keep us contracted and small and safe. So we kind of, there's a little bit of a battle that happens, and it can feel absolutely scary. But it can feel scary. It doesn't mean it is. Actually, as you'll know, and I certainly know, feels a lot worse to stay in that like contracted position where we just wish things were different, but they're not, because we're too scared to make it happen, to step into the flow. So a couple of things, a couple of bombshells. So the first one about vision is that there is no particular way to do or have a vision. The reason I share this is because a lot of people kind of get a bit stressed out, right? So if I said to you, oh, you know, like the perfect way to have a vision is to have your 10-year vision, to have it all laid out, know exactly what your life wants to look like. You'll know exactly what your business looks like, exactly what your team looks like. Some people will love that. And some other people will be like, that is so overwhelming and just not how it works, not how I jam. There are other people who might receive a vision. So I've interviewed a couple of my favorite authors, And they literally said that the books were dictated to them, right? They felt that the book wasn't, they were not writing it, it was dictated through them. So some, you know, some people are in touch that way. Um, for other people, it's about following your calling and your intuition. For me, it's kind of a little bit of all of those. Like sometimes I'm really guns blazing on something that I'm hell bent on creating, and other times I'm just like following the next nudge and then the next nudge. And personally, I like that because I feel like I'm in a position where I'm trusting what's happening. I'm trusting the flow of life. Something that we don't do enough of is trust the divine intelligence in life. Like if you look around anything in nature, trees, grass, a butterfly, I'm trying to think, like clouds, everything, they all have this perfect divine intelligence within them. And they all unfold so perfectly, so beautifully, and so easily. There's ease around their unfoldment of their becoming. They don't question it, they don't judge it. We're the ones who question. We're the ones who self-doubt. We're the ones who put brakes on. We don't trust our own unfoldment and the divine intelligence in life. But when we do, when we begin to step into that, that's where the ease comes from. That's where the peace comes from. That's where the quantum leaps come from. So you don't have to have a particular vision in a particular way. It can be a nudge, it can be a calling, it can be a like intuition, it can be like your 10-year defined, I've got it all fixed, exactly what I want to create vision. But it doesn't have to be any particular way. And the reason it doesn't have to be any particular way, this is bombshell 2, is because your vision doesn't really matter. And what I mean by that is, it's not about the vision, actually. It's not about the outcome. It's actually about who you become. It's about who you're being and who you become in the process of creating whatever that vision is. That's actually the real key, the real secret to it. And when we instead when we let go of the vision so much, like when we're attached to something, we really want it to happen and it doesn't happen, how do we feel? Like totally gutted, and like all of our expectations have just been wiped out, and we think we've failed and all of that kind of stuff. But when we don't have an attachment to it, that's actually when we have fun. We have fun with it because we're in the process, we're loving the process. So your vision is actually about who you become in the process of creating it. So I would love for you to share in the chat what your vision is for whatever it is that you want to create. And here is what I'm going to invite you to do. Don't shortchange yourself. One of the things that we do a lot is shortchange ourselves. We play small. We kind of water it down. Don't do that. Give yourself permission and space, and just for fun, to go into what you would really love to create, or what's really calling your soul to create. And sometimes that won't make any sense, like what it is that like you feel like your calling is, or what your soul's telling you to do. Like at the moment, for example, I've got this thing that I've been wanting to do for years, to create this kind of wearables brand that combines with personal development, and it doesn't make any sense, and there's nothing like it out there. And it doesn't make any sense, like for my logical brain is like, but that like margins on that will be so low and it's got all of these problems. And at the same time I'm like, but it feels so good and I really want to do it. So I invite you to share your vision in the chat and cast it into the universe. What we do when we share our vision, when we cast it, it's a bit like a net, a fishing net. You throw it out into the water. You're not going to catch all of the fish, But what you are going to do is catch the fish that are designed for that net. So when we broadcast our vision, and sometimes people might think you're crazy for having the vision that you've got. Good. People thought Henry Ford was mental. Like literally, I think he got sent, I think they wanted to put him in a mental asylum. All of the people in the past who have been visionaries and put their visions out there, people said, we're crazy, you can't do it. And it doesn't even matter how big or small it is. It's just, what would you love to create? Like, what's on your heart? What's calling you? It's such a powerful process to put it out there. So Rasha, thank you, Rasha. So Rasha says she wants to help people flourish in their personal and professional lives by having a successful business that includes creating an agency that disrupts the world of HR, both HR so that it doesn't focus on compliance, but also the importance of looking after their people. Awesome. So that every workplace is filled with people who thrive in their personal and professional life. Beautiful. Keep them coming, peeps. Keep them coming. Like for some of you, I know what some of your visions are. And if you're here, I totally expect you to put them in the chat. Others, I don't. But I want you to put it in the chat for yourself and for all of humanity. Like it's totally, and like I said earlier, don't judge your vision. It literally doesn't matter what it is. You know, when I first started working with one of my last coaches, my vision was, and I would have judged myself previously for this, but my vision was to make £250,000 in the year. I would have judged myself previously for that, for being so materialistic. And obviously since then I've learned that that's not the way that we create stuff, and that's not what we do as beautiful human beings. We don't judge each other, and we certainly do not judge ourselves, because every time we do judge ourselves, it's like taking a big old shit on ourselves. We don't do that. So Melissa says, guiding and inspiring people on overcoming trauma, seeing myself on the stage talking to thousands, author of best-selling book. Beautiful. Esther, healing breathwork sanctuary, scalable so that it can be replicated worldwide, a place where people can go to get healthy and high on life, building expansive communities of like-minded and like-hearted souls. Beautiful. My vision is for female founder coaching organization, a hub for female female founders. This is like red lorry, yellow lorry, with arms for each founder. So Christian female founders, mother female founders. Beautiful, beautiful. Aga wants to help coaches navigate the online world of technology, digital marketing, web design, so they can grow their business easily. Awesome. Building a free community for this. Awesome. Beautiful. Being a very loving human being and spread the love into the world to make an impact, create and grow person-centered businesses, help people become loving in every aspect of their life. Amazing. Gorgeous. Good to see you, Vanitha. My vision is to improve the well-being of millions of people while earning seven-figure income and getting all their love. Beautiful. Not sure what my vision is, but I know I have a calling to nurture others, to accept who we are, to release shame and trauma, to dance, create, find joy. But I'm still in the thick of it myself. Don't worry, it's all a process. And I've been there, been in the thick of it. I'm sure so many of us have. But it's gorgeous. I want to live in an abundant world where the focus is on collaboration rather than competition. I want to help leaders to help the team members grow and empower women so they can thrive. Amazing. To create a community of like-minded people here in Sri Lanka where we live a holistic, healthy life with a lot of fun and abundance to do everything we like across all ages and professions. Beautiful. If anyone else wants to stick their vision in the chat. The reason this is so important to share is because if basically every single day, if we don't tune into our vision, if we don't tune into who we are, we will be swept away through the unconscious, right? It takes something like 6 seconds after we wake up for us to slip into our unconscious patterns, like our unconscious programming, unless we've done the work and doing the work to like rewire, reset our nervous system, to get in touch with our soul. So when we share our visions, what we do is we wake each other up out of these unconscious slumbers that we otherwise get into. And if you see out in the world, an awful lot of people are in unconscious slumber. It's literally like they're asleep. They're sleepwalking through life. And this is not like to shame or judge anyone. Jesus, like I spent most of my life sleepwalking through it. And it was horrible. It was a nightmare as well. What it is this is real leadership. This is courageous to actually let people know that you're not okay with the status quo and you're creating a new world. In fact, I've got this really lovely quote. I'm just going to skip to it. I just happened to read it the other night. And it says, you have had enough of this world as it presently is. You seek a newer world. Seek it no longer. Now call it forth. So if we're not creating the kind of world that we want to live in, all that we're going to do is end up being part of the world that we're not okay with, that we don't want to live in, that isn't abundant, that isn't reflective of our like nobility as human beings, as reflections of and creations of Jesus. We're made of the same stuff as the cosmos, right? And that's just our physical side. Our physical bodies are made out of the same stuff as the galaxies, which is infinite. Infinite. And that's just the stuff we see. And I like what's so interesting about spiritual work specifically is when we think about the physical world, an atom is 99 point, I've got to get this right with my fingers, 99999% nothing. So most of everything that you see is actually nothing. It's empty space. And it's got electrons that pop in and out of existence. Right? When we actually sit down to consider for a moment like what life is and see that there's so much beyond what we just see with our physical eyes, this is when we can really tap into our power and who it is that we are and our truest sense. Like we're just scratching the surface otherwise. Right, there's so many more beautiful visions here, and I want to read them. Okay, so show people who come to me how fantastic and beautiful that they are and how worthy they are. To show them that they have a jewel buried inside them. Uncover that jewel and show them their power, their worth, and give them permission to give themselves permission to live their best life. Being boldly confident, unapologetically authentic, audacious demands, and getting what they want. Have a most downloaded podcast, Oscars, BAFTAs from books, animated series, or on a community level. Build a space where people learn to do things for themselves, show them how to live their best lives. We have to create the world that we want to live in. Like this is our choice. We have a choice here. Do we want to stay with things as they are, keep like repeating the past, or do we want to create the world that we want to live in? And we're created in the image of God. There's this beautiful phrase that I heard from a rabbi, I cannot remember his name, I think it might be Rabbi Aaron David, where he talks about how we're someone because we're some of the one, and how we are a masterpiece because we are a piece of the master. Like this is our true nature, this is our true, powerful, abundant, brilliant, expansive nature. And to step into that requires conscious effort, requires casting that vision and like holding fast to it and not letting it go, and stepping into it and feeling into it. So this is why this is so important, because you know what we're reading here, this is not the world that currently, presently, is out there, but this is the world that we want to live in, that actually like is befitting of our nature. Sarah wants to be on global stages, helping people to understand introverted people and support small business owners not to quit their dreams. Beautiful. 10 one-to-one clients at my new high fees before December. Lovely and specific. Love that, Beshley. Series of best-selling books, starting with my first book out in September, Optimal Health for Me and My Family. Creating all of this on 4 hours a day. Awesome. And being a present mum. Want to run a highly successful online business that enables me to empower people on a daily basis. Awesome. Karen is breathwork specialist, doing amazing things. Wake up and see how amazing they are. I feel like my vision changes weekly as I up level. Yeah, it's gonna. There's another one of the things about your vision. Your vision can and will change. It should change, because as you're growing, as you're evolving, your vision is naturally going to evolve with it. This is why the outcome isn't as important as who you're becoming. Like, that's the thing that you can rely on. Definitely have a spiritual side, can instantly feel when people are on the right path. Love helping clients do more of what they love. Business and spirituality, love to create retreats. To earn 7-figure businesses that I feel proud of, enables me to be free, feel free, travel, show my kids what's possible. Mad, beautiful. Want to create a lifestyle business doing what I love, helping female managers become confident, authentic leaders. Gorgeous, living a fulfilling life. What's so amazing, I think Brown might, is Brown still here? I don't think he is. I think we're all women here. This is statistically, I'd have to find the statistics, proven that women, when they want to step into their visions are actually about way more about contributing to society, up leveling society, like contributing to the whole. You know, like having abundance, but for everyone, not just themselves. And this is the power and the opportunity that we get to step into. It just makes me so excited reading these. Bring my work to those who can have the potential to change most in the world. Clara, confused about my vision because I've been immersed in product management mode, still don't know it's part of my calling, or still not ready to cut the old identity. Totally get that. When I look inside me, I see that I want to help people feel valued, show their talents, be recognized, enjoy their life, be abundant, be good to people. I see this change from the top by working with leaders to be more loving leaders. Gorgeous. Help women in midlife see that what they believe is impossible is possible, and it's never too late to believe in your worth. But dude, what a beautiful world this is with us at the helm. Giving them space to create via sound bowl retreats where they can get in touch with their dreams and desires, and by supporting them on the health journey where they can change their bodies to work for them. Beautiful. And publish her book. Karen is an extremely gifted writer. I've read some of Karen's stuff and I can't wait to hear sound bowls as well. Okay, so beautiful. So right, before I get too carried away, so the reason why vision is so important, if we haven't covered that already, is because vision provides the context in which we create ourselves. Okay, so we're either going through our life reacting to life, reacting to what is happening, which means that we're not even co-creating with it at that point. We're just reacting to what's going on. This is how I used to be all the time. I was always reacting. I was small, contracted. I was trying to find a picture of me actually during the period where I was married in this very abusive relationship. And I burned most of them. So, but I do have one from, it was at my sister's wedding. I was trying to find it because I wanted you to see how miserable I was. I was literally like an empty shell. It was like the soul and everything had been carved out of me, and I was just skin with barely anything left. There was a little bit left though. There's always a little bit left. There was a little spark that I started fanning. Okay, so, and here's the thing that you want to get. This is how you quantum leap your vision, is to understand that your vision isn't a place to get to. It is a place to come from. What we do often in life is we see our vision or our goals as over there. And it's like, "Oh, how am I going to get to them? I've got to get to them." And that's when it feels like an uphill battle. And it feels really hard, especially because we're more focused on doing. What do I need to do to get there? When we see instead our vision as a place to come from, this is when we begin to assume the identity of that person who has already created that vision, and we begin to think and feel and act like that person. This is literally how we collapse time. Okay, so your vision isn't a place to get to, it is a place to come from. It's the kind of thing that's a good thing to write down. So if your brain has just kind of gone, you can marinate on it later. I know, like when I first was going, like when I first heard that, my brain went and splattered all over the place. And then I had to pick up all the pieces and put them back together. Probably a good thing. Okay, so I am going to share this slide because it gives you the uh, three things to quantum leap your vision. Right, let me just, there we go. Sorry, I've got to press buttons, and that for me, tricky thing. Hopefully you're still there. My computer feels like it's kind of frozen. You're still there. Excellent. Right, give me 1 second. There we go. It's just super slow. Can everyone hear me okay? Am I breaking up? Thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen. There we go. So these are the three processes to embrace in order to quantum leap your vision. So the first process is about envisioning. So it's about, it's about considering, what is your highest thought of yourself? What's your highest thought of your life? What is it that you would love to create? What's your calling? What's that thing that your soul keeps whispering to you about? It's thinking about, what is it that you want for yourself? Giving yourself full permission to want all of the goodness in life, all of it. One of the biggest things that gets in our way is seeing ourselves as separate from others. When we see the oneness in everything, we understand that when we want good for ourselves, it's the same as wanting good for everyone else. When we're so full, we begin to overflow. So give yourself full permission to want the very best for yourself. Like you would want the very best for your kids. So why would you not want it for yourself? And then what would you love for your family? What would you love for humanity? So we go into the envisioning. And then the second thing, this is really important, is the emancipation. So this is when you become aware of and you begin to let go of or alchemize the false identity, the assumed identity, the unconscious programming, all of the stuff that's kept you small and safe, or surviving and stuck. We can't let that go if we don't become aware of what it is. And I'm going to share a tool in a minute so that we can alchemize something that you feel stuck around live on today's call. And then the third step is to embody. So this is when we really begin to wake up to the truth of who we are, and we consciously create who it is that we want to be through different practices. And again, I'm going to share one, and taking action. And when we take that action, we take it in the full faith that is already done, because we are becoming that person. We're becoming the person who has already created what it is that is in our vision. So those are the three. Those are the three steps. I'm going to stop sharing. Now I've got. Right. Okay. Hang on a minute. Now my Canva is going to take forever. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into like a meditation, a short one. Meditation, I have to say, has been I've meditated on and off for, I don't know, the last 5 years, I'm going to say. Now I would literally not leave the house without meditating. I would feel as it would be akin to me not brushing my teeth. I would feel that gross if I didn't meditate in the morning. Because when I go into a state of meditation, what happens is all of the noise that my mind will come up with, right? Because we have this ego part of our mind that's always trying to keep us safe, always trying to keep us in survival, always trying to keep us small and contracted and in familiarity zone, right? It will keep us in the past, because past means safe. I've survived. I've got you this far. Let's keep doing that. And it creates an awful lot of noise. If I didn't like get out of that noise every day and go deep to where it's calm, and it's a little bit like the ocean, right? On the surface of the ocean, it's like kind of savage sometimes, right? It depends what part of the ocean you are, but it can be savage. But only a few feet under the surface, even in the deepest ocean, only a few feet under, it's still and calm and serene. And that is the same thing with our mind. As soon as we go into meditation, we can leave this state that is mental and throwing out all sorts of stuff and like a snowstorm, and we can go inside the house and just observe the snowstorm and feel calm and safe and wonderful. So we're going to go into a short meditation, and we're going to get in touch with that future version of ourselves that has created what it is that you want to create. And again, this is what I want you to do. I don't want you to get too stuck on, oh, but my vision feels a bit vague. There's no vagueness to wanting to, I don't know, to serve people, to feel powerful, to whatever it is that you have written down as your vision is perfect. The worst thing you can do is judge your vision. Or is it quite right? Blah, blah, blah. Just don't do that. Don't go there. Your vision is completely and utterly perfect. But this is when you want to get your pen and paper out, because you're going to be taking some notes afterwards. So we're just going to go into a short space of meditation first, and we're going to get in touch with that future part of you that already exists, by the way. This is really, really important. Everything already exists. When we kind of go out beyond our solar system, out into the galaxy, right? Time stops at the speed of light. Time is completely relative. This is what happens when we go into meditation. We go into a place where everything is possible, everything is available to us, every feeling, every idea is available to us. Everything already exists. It's just in different forms. So sometimes it may start off as a thought, as a feeling, as a calling that we want to, bring something forward. And what we do is, by staying in that feeling, by staying in that thought, by staying in that way of being, that's how we take it out of if you like, the non-physical into the physical. Just like the electrons that pop in and out of existence. Like, where do they go? They still exist, they just exist in a form that we don't see yet. So this is what we're doing when we go into that state of our vision, of that thinking, of that feeling, and we maintain it. That thing becomes, that thought becomes a thing. That feeling becomes a thing, manifest in this 3D world that we get to live in and have fun in. So, okay, so just settle yourself for a minute. I do all sorts of practices. You'll see me rubbing my hands a lot because I do a lot of Kundalini yoga, which is great for this, just to like warm up your hands and like begin to shift the energy in your body. But just close your eyes. And just give yourself permission just to begin to relax. That's all we're doing. And just get present. Everything that we ever want to do happens in the present. All healing happens in the present. Healing of the past happens in the present. Creation of the future happens in the present. It's literally the only time it can ever happen. So when we give ourselves the gift of getting really present, this is when we get access to everything it is that we want to call forward, that we want to create. So just start by taking a deep breath in through your nostrils. And then when you get to the top of that breath, just hold it and then take an extra sip of air in at the top. Hold it. And then take a long, slow, deep breath out. Hold it at the bottom. Take a deep breath in again. Hold it at the top. Take an extra sip. Hold it. And then take a long, slow, deep breath out. And then just maintain that pattern of breath. When we go for a longer out breath, just begins to signal to our nervous system that we're safe, that we're calm, that it can begin to relax. So just settle into your breath. And if your mind starts kind of squirreling off, just gently call it back in and focus back in on your breath. Now I want you to just do a quick scan of your body from your toes all the way up your legs, past your sit bones, all the way up your back, down your arms, up your neck. See if there's anywhere that feels a little bit tense. If there is, just send it a little bit love and give it a stretch or a click in my case. And then with your feet on the floor, I want to feel the power and the majesty and the grandeur and the strength of the earth that is beneath your feet. And really feel it. Feel your feet on that floor and feel into the energy of this giant planet that is underneath your feet, here in service to you, providing you with everything you need for your experience here on earth. Feel its power and then begin to share that power, draw from it, because it's all the same. Feel that power rising up through your legs. Maybe it looks like bright light. Maybe you can feel it buzzing, but feel it coming up through your legs, past your knees, illuminating and expanding. and relaxing every part of your body. Almost as if you're kind of drawing from roots in the earth up through your feet. Feeling going past your sit bones. Feel your stomach relax. Feel it expanding with that light, with that power. Feel your heart space begin to open. Feeling safe to open and receive all of the good that is available. To be filled with light. Feel that light rising up through your spine, down your arms, through your fingertips, all the way up into your head, into your scalp, all the way down every single hair on your head. Feel your jaw relax. Feel your lips relax. Feel your cheeks relax. Let your eyes rest in their sockets and just relax all the little muscles around your eyes. And feel your forehead muscles relax. Let every part of you relax and rest and feel safe and held and supported. And if there's any noise around you, just gently pull that into your meditation, gently pull it into your awareness. Let every noise become a little signal for your body just to relax and give yourself permission to be here, to create. This is your vision. There's really nothing more important than your life, than what it is that you want to create, and you becoming who it is that you truly are. You just give yourself permission to be here. Now in your mind's eye, I want you to take yourself to a place that's so beautiful for you. It could be a place you know. It could be a place that's just coming to you as a vision. A place that is beautiful, calm, relaxed. Maybe it's in nature. Maybe sitting on a mountain, maybe by the ocean. Wherever that place is of power for you. I want you to see yourself sitting on a bench in this place, taking in all of the abundance, all of the beauty, all of the prosperity and life and joy of this place, knowing that it is all there for you, it's all there for your highest good. And as you sit on this bench, you notice someone approaching you, someone surrounded in light. The most warming presence, the most gracious, loving presence. And you notice that this person is a version of you. It's a version of you in the future. It's the version of you who has created your vision. I want you to see them, really, really see them. What do they look like? What are their qualities? How do they feel? What are they up to in the world? What are they creating? What's important to them? To notice everything about them. See them in their glory, see them in their majesty, see them in their light, see them glowing and shining. Noting everything about them, feeling into them. And as you notice them, you see that they're coming towards you, not walking, almost floating towards you. And they reach out a hand to you, and you stand up. And they embrace you. And as they embrace you, you begin to melt away. You begin to become charged by their light. You begin to step into who it is that they are, knowing that you are them already. You begin to assume their posture and their presence, their grace, their loving kindness, their givingness, their power. You feel it. It's being transferred into you. You're becoming one with them. You know from the inside how they think. You know how they feel. You know the elevated, expanded emotions in their body. You look through their eyes and you see the world as they see the world. And just take a deep breath and give yourself permission to feel into this version of you, this version that already exists, this version that is closer to you than your breath, this version that is more real than all of the limiting beliefs that you have, all of the false identities, all of the fear. This is the real version of you. This is the authentic version of you. This is you. Now I want you to take a deep breath in. Just have a moment of gratitude for being in this space, for being with each other, for being and allowing and giving yourself permission to step into this version of you. Show her thanks for being here for you, for being so close, for being always present. Take a big, deep breath of gratitude, knowing that you can come back here in an instant. And then slowly begin to open your eyes. And then take out your pen and your piece of paper. I want you to start writing down the information that you got. How does this version of you think? How does she feel? How does she operate? What is she up to? What is she up to in the world? How does she show up? Really tuning into that version of you who has already created what it is that you want to create, who already has the franchise of Breathwork Studios, who speaks on stage, who has the online community and courses, who has the 7-figure business, who is giving and sharing her light and charging up others all across the globe, who is a literal beacon, who's holding a light up on a path, guiding others, showing the way. How does she feel? What's important to her? How does she think? I'm just going to give you a couple more minutes to write that down because it's really important. And don't overthink this. Just write down what comes. Sometimes when we're getting in touch with a different part of ourselves, it speaks in another language. You know, the heart doesn't necessarily speak English. It doesn't necessarily make perfect sense. It might not feel possible. It doesn't matter. Write it down. Okay. So now what I want you to do is that's where we're going. Now I want you to get clear on where you are now. So I want you to write down, who are you being now? How do you think? How do you feel? How do you operate? What are you up to? And what's really important in this one, your ego is not going to like it. What's really important when you do this is be honest. Be honest from a place of complete non-judgment and love for yourself. It's really hard for us to make any tangible transformation when we're not honest about where we are. And something that we'll share in a minute is about how important everything is that you write down now, about how you're thinking now, how you feel now, how you're operating now. Some of it will be good, some of it will be stuff that you're not so enamored with. And that's perfectly fine. In fact, the more courageous you can be at this point, the better. because everything that you write down now is going to become your magic keys to your next level of growth. And I've got to tell you, first time I did this exercise, I pretty much, I didn't want to cry, but it was a reality. It wasn't a reality check. It just was uncomfortable, but it's good. Good to get uncomfortable. That's where the growth happens. To write down where you're holding back, write down where you're keeping yourself small, write down where you're not believing in yourself. Get it all down. I'm just going to give you another minute just to get something down. And kudos, extra points, if you want to put it in the chat, what some of the things are that are coming up for you. The reason I say this is because just as sharing our vision can be so super powerful, so can our vulnerability and our honesty. There is so much power in having loving acceptance for where we might be contracting ourselves or keeping ourselves small. Yeah, so this, Sarah, is where are you now? And being really honest. So it's writing down, like, how are you thinking now? How do you feel now? What are you up to now? What are your habits now? And yes, some of it's going to be good. And we also want to get to the stuff that's getting in the way too. So where are you holding yourself back? How is your thinking holding yourself back? Where, are you in self-doubt a lot? Whatever it is, put it down. I'm glad that you fell asleep, Sarah. I'm gonna record some sleeping meditations, make $1 trillion. So be honest with this. And the reason is because everything that you're writing down now, especially all the stuff that's getting in the way, these are the keys to the kingdom. They are, we're here and we want to be here. And in between, it feels like there are all these blocks, right? Roadblock, 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 roadblock. But actually, they're not in the way. Our blocks are the way. Our blocks are the way. When we can turn to our blocks and transform them, it's like, and I want to show you an example, right? Of this is what blocks are like. If I have a piece of paper, right, and you would describe paper as like flimsy, thin, like it's nothing really to it. I could easily tear this up, burn it, like just destroy this so easily. But if I'm standing out in the sun and I hold this up in front of my eyes, this thin piece of nothing is still going to block out the sunlight. And this is what our blocks are like, right? We can have this most radiant, most real feeling version of ourselves right in front of us, within us, touching distance. We can feel it. And yet a block can feel so in the way, like a flimsy piece of paper, that we can't see it. But the good news about blocks is when we do transform them, and they are as easy to transform as a piece of paper is to tear up, we like suddenly we have access to that radiance of who we are. Like we step into it. this is why our blocks are key. We need to know what's getting in the way so that we can do the work to alchemize them, to shift them and change them. So thank you for your like deep, courageous honesty. So Linda says where she needs to do the work, impatient, she's not 100% believing, looking for critical voices from within, question, am I desperate, shame, anger and guilt, where am I keeping myself small, not asking for my worth, where am I not believing in myself, my worth, value, money. Beautiful, thank you. I guess as I've blocked from posting to community, it feels like a lot of effort and then there's so little response that it further discourages me of posting. Okay, so you want to feel like you're connecting with people and building something but not getting the engagement, and it feels pointless. Sarah says, I don't like not knowing where I'm going or what it looks like. It's fear of the unknown. Always want to feel that I'm able to help my clients, and the fear of not being able to scares me. Beautiful. I feel like I'm making my life difficult and feel stuck and like I'm not in the right room. Beautiful. Hopefully you feel like you're in the right room today though, Julia. Beautiful. Okay, so I could literally give you a quadrillion examples of how blocks are not in the way, they are the way. But I'm going to share with you a really powerful one because this one happened for me, I don't know, probably about 6-9 months ago, that I had a conversation with my coach because I really felt that, I'm being very honest here, this is real life, guys, that I had a lot of resentment towards my husband. Love him, but also had a lot of resentment. And that had been building up for a long time. And I felt as if this was holding me back in my business. And I didn't quite know why. Like, that didn't quite make sense. Like, why would my resentment towards my husband be holding me back in my business? But I just felt that that's what it was. And I took this to my coach. And literally within one session, that was gone. And the next month, I'm not kidding you, the next month I brought in 70 grand, £70,000, but $100,000 into my business, just like that. Because I knew I had been holding myself back. I knew it was me. And I knew it was this thing that was getting in the way, but I didn't know what to do about it. It didn't even make sense that they were related. I mean, it does to me now. But this is what can happen really quickly when we begin to let go of the blocks that are getting in the way. So, can you tell us? I don't want to tell you too much. Okay. So basically, I thought I was feeling as if my husband should show up in a particular way, should approach work in a particular way, should earn more money, should this, should that, should the other. I had a lot of shoulds around it. And I was feeling, and because that wasn't the reality, I wasn't living with reality. I was living with a version of my husband that was made up in my head. I felt a lot of resentment because I was all about the shoulds. He should be like this, he should be like that, and he wasn't. So what I did was I held myself back so that we all got held back because of this resentment. That doesn't make any sense, right? It makes no logical sense. And this is this is what the ego is. The ego isn't logical. Your unconscious mind, where all of your unconscious beliefs are, is not logical. There's nothing logical about it. But when we go into it and we release those blocks, this is when, like, literally the paper goes, and now we're standing in the full majesty of what's available to us. We can step into who it is that we are and step into our power. And it really is only ever us that's holding ourselves back. It's just, do we have the awareness of what it is? Are we courageous enough to look at it? And then are we going to do the work to alchemize it? And it doesn't take that much. It takes more effort at the beginning if you've not done much of this work before, because it's unfamiliar. That's all it is, unfamiliar. But the more you do it, for me now, if I want to change a belief, I can pretty much do it in a day. If I become aware of a bit, I can pretty much change it in a day. because I've done this work for a long time. I know what to do. I've built, and I have this identity of myself that I have so much faith in and trust in and certainty in, the spiritual side of myself. I know what my mind is, and I understand it. I know what my nervous system does and how that works and how that will work against me. So I'm able to shift it and alchemize it really quickly. For others, it takes a bit longer, and that's okay. What Thank you for sharing your loving support. In the chat, standing in the same pair of shoes now. Okay, I'm glad it resonates. And about taking responsibility, yeah. Okay, awesome. So your blocks aren't in the way, they are the way, is what I'm saying. This is why this is the work that I love doing the most, because I know that it makes the most difference to people. You can future vision loads, but unless you start to shift internally, unless you start to emancipate those beliefs that are holding you back, those contractions, those contracted way of thinking and feeling, it's going to be really hard to step into a new identity, or rather assume the identity of who it is that you truly are. That's for me, that's what it is. This is who you truly are. Piece of the cosmos, a piece of the master, some of the one. That's who you truly are. That's who I truly am. We're just these unique expressions of divinity. Like every planet is different, every flower is different. They're all amazing. They all have different functions. So like we're all different, but we're all part of the same thing. And we can begin to step into that. So I'm going to take you through a really short exercise. I would, of course, love to do everything today, but I'm mindful of the time. Because I've got so much that I could do with you, but I'm mindful of the time. So I want to take you into a short exercise that you can just begin to let go of a part of you that you're ready to let go of, and embody a new part of you, a conscious, loving, expansive. I always love putting my arms out every time I say expansive, receiving part of you. So once you've identified a limiting belief that's kind of coming up for you, or a block that's coming up for you, I want you to step into a place of forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of those things that we don't do enough. But we have absolute grace to forgive ourselves. Because what we've done is we've bought into a misunderstanding about ourselves. I have bought into so many misunderstandings about myself, that I was weak, that I couldn't do stuff, that I didn't believe in myself, that certain things were not possible for me. For example, like growing up, having, let's say, a multi-million-dollar business was something that wasn't available for people like me. Like that's the belief that I grew up in. It just wasn't. That was not in anywhere in my consciousness or the consciousness of my family. And it's, when I've always been very ambitious and entrepreneurial, and when I got older, I was always like, I would say that that's what I want, and I knew I was capable of creating it, but things wouldn't shift because I could say it, but I didn't know it. Right? There wasn't a knowing. There wasn't a deep inner knowing that was available to me. But one of the things that we can do is we can forgive ourselves. So I want you to identify one of the beliefs that's coming up for you, something that's blocking you. And you can write this out, you can say it out. And this is it. I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that, and then you share what this misunderstanding is, because that's all a block is. A block is a misunderstanding. It's gone into your subconscious, and for you, for your unconscious, it's become truth. It's just become the way that life is. But it's a misunderstanding. So I want you to just go into a place of forgiveness for yourself, as you would forgive someone that you absolutely love. You know, if I was here, like one time when my son was about 2, he drew all over this like beautiful, lovely, expensive chair that I bought, this lovely yellow chair in velvet. He drew all over it with a Sharpie, all over it. And the thing is, he was so innocent. He was 2. There was nothing to forgive him for, right? And this is the same thing with you. At some point, you've bought into a belief about yourself that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that it's not possible for you, that it's not available to you. You've bought into it innocently. So, really, there's nothing to forgive, but you can still, saying it helps to just begin to shift and transform that energy around it. So, I want to say out loud, you're all on mute, so it doesn't matter. Say out loud where you are. I forgive myself. I'm watching your mouths. Go on, say it. Say it. I forgive myself. Can feel hard. It can feel alien at first. Do it anyway. I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that, and then say what is the belief that you bought into. You can just take a moment and just close your eyes as you do this, because I actually want you to feel it. Not just say it, feel it. So you can see maybe a version of you in the past that bought into that belief. Maybe you were a little kid, maybe you were a teenager, maybe it happened when you were an adult. At some point you bought into this misunderstanding that maybe you're not good enough, or that you're going to be abandoned, or that people are going to reject you, or you're not going to be liked. Or you bought into a misunderstanding that that's not for people like you. See that version of you and tell them that you forgive them for buying into that misunderstanding. And embrace them with love, just like your future self embraced you. And when we begin to forgive these past versions of ourselves, this is when we go into quantum healing. Okay, this is just more rocket fuel to bringing forward that vision. And this is what it means. It means that all healing happens in the present. All future is created in the present. It is literally the only time it can ever happen. So give yourself the grace just to see that version of you, that small child, that teenager, that adult. See that version of you and forgive them for buying into that misunderstanding, on whatever your misunderstanding is, and say it out loud, because it has more power. And really feel it. And as you say it, you're going to start to realize that there was never anything to forgive, because it was pure innocence that brought into that belief. So take a deep breath, feeling that love and forgiveness. And now what you're going to do is create yourself a new truth. So I want you to take that belief that you've just begun to alchemize, that you've just forgiven, and I want you to find an opposite of it, something that feels equally as true. So if you just forgave yourself for not feeling enough, for buying into the misunderstanding that you're not worthy, I want you to now adopt a new truth that you are worthy, that you're worthy of all good things, whatever is the opposite that feels just as true. And then I want you to say that out loud too. For my new truth is, and then say it out loud. And then just give yourself the grace just for one moment, say the whole thing. I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that, say the misunderstanding. For my new truth is, and share it out loud with yourself. And as you just begin to feel into that healing, that power, that reconnection, I want you to make it bigger. Make it brighter, make the picture more powerful, the colors more amazing, more intense. Give it a shape. Feel it in your body. Feel where that power resides. Remember, this is the most real part of you. This is the part that we're waking up. This is the part that we wake up every single day until it becomes our second nature, till it becomes our new identity. And then I invite you, if you can, just to share in the chat your new truth. Patsy says, my new truth is that I'm enough, and I'm abundant, and I'm strong and capable. 100%. Unashamed of my actions, I live, I learn, I grow, I rise, I thrive. Do you feel like this version of you, even though it might feel a little bit alien, is actually like there's truth to it, there's depth to it, there's a realness to it? Maria says, I love the energy of the new version. Beautiful. I'm amazing. I'm enough. I'm fun. I'm safe. My new truth is that I'm not alone. The universe is taking care of me. Too right. You're welcome to drop it in the chat. Sharing, I always say this, sharing is caring. I say this on the calls that I have like every single week. Sharing is caring because it gives other people permission to just like be vulnerable, to be honest, to step into themselves. Community, in fact, is like one of the ways in which our nervous system begins to feel safe. It's one of the ways that we reprogram our nervous system. And I didn't fully get to tell you go into detail about what is it about our mind and our body that we have to kind of fight and battle against. Um, but know that both are wired, they are set up to keep you small, keep you safe. This is how your ancestors have survived. Without your mind and your nervous system and your body contracting, none of us would be here. Like, none of us would be here. The human race wouldn't have survived to this point. So that's for our survival. But then we have this other part of us that is able to rise above that. We have this depth, we have this soul. And once we know how our mind works, once we know how our nervous system works, and also how to rewire and reset them, anything becomes possible for us. A community of feminine energy is also phenomenal. 100%, 100%. Confident in myself and